44 billion. So, is it a spree that's going to continue, and what is driving it forwards? With me is Lucinda Guthrie, who's Deputy Global Editor of Dealreporter. I get the impression they've got a lot of money in their pockets, which, amazingly, after the recession, but they do, and they're looking to ways to spend it.
Well, this is it. There are a few players who've got a lot of cash on their books, and now we're starting to see them spend the cash, which is fantastic news for people like me reporting on deals. Is it fantastic news for the targets? Not always.
It's not a good motive, is it? If you've got money and you want to spend it, I mean, you know, if you've got money in your pocket and you feel you've got to spend it, you don't always end up buying the things you really want.
Well, exactly. However, I think people have learnt their lessons. I mean, looking back to 2007, when we had the last big explosion of mega mergers, if you like, when we look at the stats now, the actual number of publicly listed companies coming into play are about half the level of it in 2007. And I think what that is companies are now, they don't want to buy the whole company, they're actually buying the piecemeal. So you could.
That's happening in the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. They're doing things like swaps, aren't they? Swapping parts of their businesses,
exactly.
Aren't they, across, which is an interesting, quite a creative way of going about it.
Exactly, and I think then you're not left with such a difficult integration process, and you don't get the questions of what am I going to do with that piece I don't really want.
But the Pfizer one is interesting because, one, there's a lot of tax motivation, or motivation to get a tax benefit by coming and getting your domicile in the UK, and also it's a very old-fashioned merger. They're offering a lot of shares, and they're just going to do a straight buyout, aren't they?
Well, that's it. I mean, that's one of the other things we've been seeing this year. Interestingly, this year, some stats that we ran is that UK pharmaceutical targets, I think we've got the record year ever for foreign acquirers buying UK targets for pharmaceutical companies, and it's because of this buying a company for tax benefits.
But is that a good idea? Is that a good reason?
Well, I wouldn't like to say.
All right, but looking back at history, if you're doing it for tax reasons, looking at examples over the last, well, however long, does that generally end up with a kind of happy merger, do you think?
I think there's always other reasons that there has to be other reasons why you would merge, but that has been a theme we've seen. Interestingly, the US looks like it wants to close that loophole up. So what happens to those deals that are already in play, like AstraZeneca, for example, if that does come to fruition and that loophole closes up?
The other thing is, of course, there's this idea just bigger is better. You get hold of other people's development pipelines. They'll get hold of AstraZeneca's drug pipeline, and also in other industries. And in the Facebook going for WhatsApp, the whole idea was there, knock someone out before they become a rival, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a question of scale. For some industries, buying in bulk makes a lot of sense, but in other industries it doesn't. It isn't always the answer. It isn't always the best reason to merge two companies just to have a bigger entity. How
long is this going to go on for? Very brief, I've only got a few seconds. How long is it going to go on for, this kind of craze for merging?
I think we're going to see a few more deals in the pipeline. I don't think we're going to hit 2007 levels. Yes, absolutely.
Right through this year. Next year?
I think that we're having a flurry of activity now, and then we'll see a few more deals, but I don't expect a continued, sustained blockbuster.
Nothing goes in a straight line. Yeah, exactly. Lucinda, thanks very much. Lucinda Guthrie there. Thank you very much indeed.